We are in lesson 373. This is going to be a spelling dictation exercise. And in this lesson, we are going to introduce Syllable Rule 2. In previous lessons, we introduced Syllable Rule 1. So let's discuss the difference between the two syllable rules. Specifically, let's talk about Syllable Rule 2 for now. When two vowels representing sounds are separated by two or more consonants, divide the word into syllables after the first consonant and before the next consonant. Remember, in Syllable Rule 1, if we have one consonant between two vowels, we divide after the first vowel and before the consonant. But Syllable Rule 2 says if you have two or more consonants between the vowels, you divide between the first and second consonants that are between those two vowels. And we see examples of this at the bottom of this screen: trolley, filter, jello. In all three of these words, we have two consonants that come between the vowels, and you'll notice that we divide the word into syllables in each of these three words between those two consonants. We put the two above the word to indicate Syllable Rule 2 is in effect. That's why we're dividing the word where we do. And then under the dots, which we use to identify the vowel sounds, we apply vowel group numbers to indicate what sound a vowel is going to represent in each of these syllables according to its position in that particular word. Let me review the marking procedure for words. First, you look to see if you have any consonant or vowel teams, and if you do, you underline them. If a letter represents its second sound, double underline that letter or letter team. And then if you have a silent E at the end of the word, be sure and underline the silent E. That's step one. Step two, identify the vowel sounds in the word by placing dots under the vowels that represent sounds. If you have a silent E in the word, you don't put a dot under it because it does not represent a sound. Step three, if necessary, divide the word into syllables. Now, a syllable basically is determined by the vowel sound. If you have one vowel sound in a word, you have a one-syllable word. If you have two vowel sounds in a word, you have a two-syllable word. So all of the words in this lesson are going to be two syllables in length. You place the syllable rule number above the word just to the right of the division line. And then step four is you will place vowel group numbers under all the vowels in the words that represent sounds. So I'm going to dictate 7 rows of words, and all of these words will illustrate Syllable Rule 2. Let's begin with row 1. The first word is conduct. Conduct. Her conduct was exemplary. Conduct. This is a two-syllable word. The first syllable, con, 3 sounds. K, a, n. Duct, 4 sounds. D, a, k, t. Conduct. Now first, in order to mark this word correctly, we look to see if we have any teams in the word, or if any of the letters are representing a second sound, or if we have a silent E. None of these elements are in this word, so now the next step is we identify our vowel sounds. And we identify our vowel sounds by placing dots under the vowels. Now we count the number of consonants between our dots or between our vowel sounds. We have 2, so we're going to apply Syllable Rule 2 to this word. We're going to divide between the N and the D. The 2 goes above the word, just to the right of that division line. Finally, we assign vowel group numbers to the vowel sounds in the word. In the first syllable, we have one vowel followed by a consonant. That's vowel group 1. In the second syllable, same situation, one vowel followed by a consonant. Both vowels will represent their short sounds. The word is conduct. The next word is tonsil. Tonsil. He will have a tonsil removed. Tonsil. Now, let me discuss a technique that we use for spelling, and that is called a spelling vocabulary. We all have a speaking vocabulary. It's the way we pronounce words in conversation. But good spellers also have what I call a spelling vocabulary, meaning you pronounce the word mentally to yourself so that it conforms to the actual spelling of the word. And tonsil is an example of this, because in conversation we say tonsil. But for spelling we say tonsil. So we clearly enunciate the sounds that all of the letters, particularly the vowel sounds, represent in the syllables in this word. Be aware of the fact that in English, in two-syllable words, the syllable that does not receive the emphasis, the vowel sound in that syllable tends to get muddied, and you don't hear it clearly for conversation. Oftentimes it's referred to as the schwa sound, which is the short U sound. In spelling, though, we want to focus our attention on pronouncing each letter within each syllable as accurately as possible so we can fix the spelling of the word in our minds. So, as I said, instead of saying tonsil, which is the way we say the word in conversation, I want you to say this word for spelling, tonsil. This is a two-syllable word. The first syllable is ton, 3 sounds, t, a, n. Sil, 3 sounds, s, I, l. Tonsil. Now, step 1 in the marking procedure, we look to see if there are any consonant teams. No. No letters representing its second sound. No. No silent E. So we go to the second step, and that is we identify our vowel sounds. We have 2. We put a dot under the O and a dot under the I. Now we count the consonants between our dots. We have 2. Therefore, syllable rule 2 is in effect. We put the 2 above the word to the right of the division line. Finally, our last step is we associate vowel group numbers with all the vowels in any given word. And again, in this word, we have vowel group 1 for O and for I, because we have one vowel in each of these 2 syllables followed by a consonant. Therefore, the vowels will represent their short sounds. Ton, sil. Cannon. Cannon. The cannon was fired in celebration. Cannon. First syllable, can, 3 sounds. K, a, n. Non, 3 sounds. N, a, n. Cannon. Now here's another word where you want the pronunciation of the word to conform to the spelling. So we're going to pronounce this word canon. We don't have any teams, so let's advance and identify our vowel sounds. We have 2. Count the consonants between your vowel sounds. We have 2, so syllable rule 2 is in effect. You could have 2 or 3 or even 4 consonants between your vowels, but it still would be syllable rule 2. And you still divide between the first and second of the consonants. And then we assign vowel group numbers to the vowels. And the word is canon. Canon. Tennis. Tennis. I like to play tennis. Tennis. 2 syllables. First syllable, 10, 3 sounds. T, e, n. Nis, 3 sounds. N, I, s. Tennis. Now, from this point forward, I simply want you to mark the word, and once you've completed that, advance the screen to see if you've marked it correctly. Tennis. Tennis. Row 2. Gossip. Gossip. Don't be a gossip. Gossip. First syllable, gos, 3 sounds. G, a, s. Sip, 3 sounds. S, I, p. Gossip. Mark the word. Gossip. Victim. Victim. He was a victim of a crime. Victim. First syllable, vic, 3 sounds. V, I, k. Tim, 3 sounds. T, I, m. Victim. Mark the word. Victim. Seldom, seldom. We seldom go out these days. Seldom. First syllable, sell, 3 sounds. S, e, l. Dom, 3 sounds. D, a, m. Seldom. Mark the word. Seldom. Again, we exaggerate the pronunciation of this word slightly to conform to spelling. Spoken vocabulary for this word is seldom, but for spelling vocabulary, seldom. And this illustrates what happens to the vowel sound in the syllable that does not get stressed in the pronunciation of a word. We put the emphasis in seldom on the first syllable. Seldom. Do you hear that? We put more emphasis in pronouncing the first syllable. So the second syllable, the tendency in English is for the vowel sound in the unaccented, or the syllable that does not receive stress, to lose its clarity and revert to what we call the schwa sound, which again is basically the short U sound. And so we would pronounce the word seldom like it's D-U-M, but it's spelled dom. So what you want to do for your spelling vocabulary is make sure that in the unaccented syllable, the syllable that does not receive the stress, that you exaggerate the sound of that vowel sound so that you can hear it clearly. That's why for spelling we pronounce the word seldom. The next word is subject. Subject. We are all subject to the law. Subject. First syllable sub, 3 sounds. S, b. Ject, 4 sounds. J, e, k, t. Subject. Mark the word. Subject. Subject. Row 3. Whiplash. Whiplash. The passenger had whiplash in the accident. Whiplash. First syllable whip, 3 sounds. Wa, I, p. Lash, 3 sounds. Ul, a, sh. Whiplash. Now this is what we call a compound word. A compound word is when 2 short words are joined together to create another word. And in this instance, we have the word whip and the word lash. So at this point, mark the word. Whip, lash. Kidnap. Kidnap. He will try and kidnap the child. Kidnap. First syllable kid, 3 sounds. K, I, d. Nap, 3 sounds. N, a, p. Kidnap. Mark the word. Kidnap. This is another compound word. Blanket. Blanket. I need a blanket to ward off the chill. Blanket. First syllable blang, 4 sounds. B, ul, a, ng. Ket, 3 sounds. K, e, t. Blanket. Mark the word. Blanket. Notice the letter N is representing its second sound. Remember, when the letter N is followed by the sound K, the letter N will represent its second sound, even if the sound K goes on into the second syllable, as it does in this word. That's why N is double underlined here. It's representing the sound ng, and that's the same sound the team NG represents. Classic. Classic. That movie is a classic. Classic. First syllable class, 4 sounds. K, ul, a, s. Sick, 3 sounds. S, I, k. Class sick. Mark the word. Classic. Now in this word, we use C at the end of the word to represent the sound K. In most words in English, if you have a short vowel followed by the sound K, we would use CK to represent that team. But there is an entire class of words where you don't use CK, you use the letter C instead at the end of the word. And you simply have to memorize those words where you're going to use C instead of CK to represent the sound K. Row 4, gallop. Gallop. The horse did gallop through town. Gallop. First syllable gal, 3 sounds. G, a, ul. Lop, 3 sounds. Ul, a, p. Gallop. Now, our speaking pronunciation for this is gallop, but for spelling we say gal, lop. Mark the word. Gal, lop. Lesson. Lesson. What is the lesson of the day? Lesson. First syllable less, 3 sounds. Ul, e, s. Son, 3 sounds. S, a, n. Less, son. Mark the word. Less, son. Here, the speaking or conversational way we pronounce the word is lesson, but for spelling, less, son. Publish, publish. I would like to publish a book. Publish. First syllable pub, 3 sounds. P, b. Lish, 3 sounds. Ul, I, sh. Publish. Mark the word. Publish. Contact. Contact. We will contact you soon. Contact. First syllable con, 3 sounds. K, a, n. Tact, 4 sounds. T, a, k, t. Contact. Mark the word. Contact. Row 5. Afford. Afford. We can barely afford the tuition. Afford. Now for spelling pronunciation, let's pronounce this word afford. Afford. First syllable, aff, 2 sounds. A, f. Ford, 3 sounds. F, or, d. Afford. Mark the word. Afford. Fossil. Fossil. The scientist found a fossil in the desert. Fossil. First syllable, fos, 3 sounds. F, a, s. Sill, 3 sounds. S, I, ul. Fossil. Mark the word. Fossil. Fossil. Basket. Basket. Place the basket on the shelf. Basket. First syllable bass, 3 sounds. B, a, s. Ket, 3 sounds. K, e, t. Basket. Mark the word. Basket. Basket. District. District. I live in the northern district. District. First syllable dis, 3 sounds. D, I, s. Tricked. 5 sounds. T, r, I, k, t. District. Mark the word. District. Row 6. Enrich. Enrich. This book will enrich your understanding. Enrich. First syllable N, 2 sounds. E, n. Rich, 3 sounds. R, I, ch. Enrich. Mark the word. Enrich. Inquest. Inquest. The police will conduct an inquest into the crime. Inquest. In, 2 sounds. I, n. Quest. 5 sounds. First two sounds, qua, s, t. In quest. Mark the word. In quest. Piston. Piston. The piston in the engine had to be replaced. Piston. Now, for spelling purposes, we pronounce this word piston. First syllable, pis, 3 sounds. P, I, s. Ton, 3 sounds. T, a, n. Piston. Mark the word. Piston. And again, the speaking vocabulary for this word is piston, but for spelling, piston. Hamlet. Hamlet. I live in a very small, rural hamlet. Hamlet. First syllable, ham, 3 sounds. H, a, m. Let, 3 sounds. Ul, e, t. Hamlet. Mark the word. Hamlet. Our final row 7, cactus. Cactus. A cactus will grow in a desert environment. Cactus. Cac, 3 sounds. K, a, k. Tuss, 3 sounds. T, a, s. Cactus. Mark the word. Cactus. Here again we have a short vowel followed by the sound k. Normally in English we use ck to represent that sound, but in this word we use the letter C by itself. Nutshell. Nutshell. That's all the news in a nutshell. Nutshell. Now this is a compound word. The first syllable is nut, 3 sounds. N, t. Shell, 3 sounds. Sh, e, ul. Nutshell. And again, it's a compound word because it's composed of 2 words combined, nut and shell. Mark the word, nutshell. Notice the L is doubled at the end of this word because of the floss rule. The floss rule says if a word ends in F, L, or S with a short vowel just before the F, L, or S, we double the F, L, or S. Congress. Congress. The Congress will meet again soon. Congress. This is a 2-syllable word. The first syllable is cong, 3 sounds. K, a, ng. Gress, 4 sounds. G, r, e, s. Congress. Mark the word. Congress. Now, N is representing its second sound here, and you might wonder why. Well, the rule is that when N is followed by the sound K, it will represent its second sound. But also the rule says that if the N is followed by the sound G, that also will cause the G to represent its second sound. We haven't really talked about N followed by a G up until now in the program because you only encounter this in 2 or more syllable words. And since up until the last couple of lessons we've only had 1-syllable words, we haven't had a word illustrate this rule. But so the rule is when the letter N is followed by either K or G, the N will represent its second sound. And then our final word in this lesson is convict. Convict. The convict will have to stay in jail. Convict. And we have 2 syllables. The first syllable is con, 3 sounds. K, a, n. Vict, 4 sounds. V, I, k, t. Convict. Now, actually, this word can be pronounced in one of 2 ways. Convict is a noun meaning a person in prison, but to convict someone means to find them guilty. In convict, where it's a noun referring to someone in prison, the emphasis goes on the first syllable. In convict, the emphasis goes on the second syllable. Let's mark the word. Convict. But you spell the word the same irregardless of the meaning of the word. And this completes the dictation of words in lesson 373.